This is a time in the market where there's a lot of focus on stocks and bonds. We've ran a natural resource equity strategy at Victor Capital for over 20 years, and we'd argue it's a great time to think about inflation protection and non-correlated assets. Investors are using natural resource equities for a multitude of reasons. What we see most often is a core component of a real asset portfolio. And a real asset portfolio serves a role for a unique return stream, but also inflation protection in a portfolio. The causes for the natural resource equity downturn were multifaceted. There was really three phases to the downturn. Supply concerns that started in late 2014, which spooled into demand concerns in middle of 2015, and ultimately debt concerns. But we've seen a fairly pronounced recovery from that, and we think that tail risk that was embedded in the stocks, we've seen a dramatic recovery from undervaluation, but we'd argue there's still a lot of opportunity in the asset class. So our investment team outlook is twofold. At the commodity level, we feel there's a healing process underway as capital towards the space has really shrunk as a result of the downturn. More importantly, at the stock level, we feel there's a real opportunity from a relative value opportunity, as well as these companies own assets that are not recognized at the stock level today. And so if you invest in these companies today, we feel there's a real return opportunity you can garner over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. So everybody's talking about stocks and bonds, but we think it's a real opportunity to take a look at an area that's less recognized in the market. Natural resource equities, real assets, and commodities. There's really been no penalty for not owning this space over the last 3 years. But that being said, we think there's some real healing mechanisms that are underway towards the asset class. One, there's been a real dramatic reduction in capital that companies are spending towards new projects. And then more importantly, that has healing mechanisms as it relates to commodities. But more importantly, at the equity level, we really believe that there's an opportunity at the equity level because there's generalist apathy towards this asset class. We have a team of specialist investors that look for companies that own low-cost assets that are not recognized within stock prices today. And as a result of the downturn, we feel like commodities can heal over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, and yet stocks that own these commodities in a low-cost nature have a real opportunity to produce a return stream for our investors. At the end of the day, what's this asset class all about? The core tenets are diversification as well as inflation protection. And nobody cares much about inflation protection today, and yet we'd argue inflation protection is one of the cheapest forms of portfolio insurance available in today's market. So with that being said, we'd be happy to have further conversations around the asset class.